You are now locked in to the Sitting Down with the Sisters podcast.
Hi guys!
Welcome back to
Hello,
another.
bonjour!
Mon ami,
Ça va?
Chérie! Ça va?
Ça va bien?
Oh wow, I like
merci.
it. Bonjour chérie!
Comment tu t'appelles?
Je m'appelle.
À bientôt.
That's not French.
That's goodbye.
It's French, babe.
That's what I said.
She didn't say goodbye, but we've just started. Why are you saying bye?
Sorry, I just wanted to flex all my friends. Bon appétit.
See you soon.
Bon chance.
Guys, welcome back to another episode of Sitting Down. We.
Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of Sitting Down with the Sisters. We are your host. I am Temi.
I'm Ashley.
I'm Ayo.
Yeah. Ayo, do you want to introduce our topic?
I'll take it away. I'll take it away. I'll take it away. I'll take it away. Thank you.
I thought it was only Ashley that has sugar.
Right.
Yeah.
You know me, that's my vibe 24.
Without sugar or even any you be hyped.
We hype. So guys, I had two things I wanted to discuss with my girls today.
Yeah.
And I told them about it.
Yeah.
And they was down.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Yeah.
The first topic is I was listening to a podcast this week, and they do dilemmas a lot on their pod. If you guys think we should do dilemmas, let us know in the comments. Not dilemmas, but maybe advice. Anyway, whatever. And one of the dilemmas that was sent into their podcast was, I want my man to sleep with someone else. Now, the reasoning as to why this babe told these girls that she wanted her man to sleep with someone else was because, one, she was his only sexual partner, and her belief system was that he might get to a point where he now wants to, go out there and do a madness, and he does, get out of his system, and she didn't want to do that. She didn't want him to do that on her time. But her man was saying to her, oh no, like genuinely, like he's happy in his relationship, he's satisfied with her, he doesn't need like anything else. Where I now wanted to discuss this with my girls was the advice that they were the babe was given by these podcasters spun me, and it showed me that our generation is in the mud. And I don't mean this in a rude way, but
what was their response?
we're really in the mud. Their response was like, oh girl, we get what you're saying, maybe you can tell him. Maybe you can tell him that we could take a break and da da. But then one of them,
they were encouraging her to do it.
One of them kind of, and then the other one kind of had small sense. She was like, if he's genuinely saying that he's cool with you and he's content and he's satisfied, believe him. And like you shouldn't, like, don't just assume all men want to do that. But at the same breath, the girls were like, yeah, men, how they can be, they might want to do this, they might want to do this, blah 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 blah. So I was just like, no, I need to speak about this, because this narrative, or even just the endorsement of people just being sexually frivolous, is not something I will ever stand behind or endorse. And I just wanted to talk about that with you guys. What are your thoughts?
I think that's what an interesting
dilemma.
Yeah, and the fact that it's coming from a woman and her saying, she wants to give her man the opportunity to go and do that.
Explore.
Me and my household,
we don't do such.
I don't know that. I don't know that.
Not familiar with that one.
And again, if her man is saying to her, I don't need to do all of that, that's a man that has sense.
Correct.
And why I say that is because he knows that there is nothing out there for him. And that's why also I agree with you, I kind of endorse that sexually frivolous business, because there's nothing out there. It's emptiness.
It is like, okay,
you're doing the same act over and over again with different women.
Right.
You're still empty.
All right.
You still want more. What does that say about you? So I just find it. I actually find it bizarre, and the fact that her friends were encouraging her. I think it's actually out of fear, and it's so crazy that you bring that up, because I've been seeing a lot recently on social media. I've been seeing it a lot on social media, where just different women and men will be having conversations about how you need to let a man get it out of his system, that aspect of things, basically sex, like having sex with multiple women,
as though it's COVID-19,
doing things on their own time and doing X, Y, and Z. And I find that discussion so
it's bizarre,
interesting.
Yeah,
so interesting.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go on. I want to hear your point of view.
With me in this topic, I think with the podcast that I spoke about initially and with us, I think as women we need to be careful there can be a lot of naivety going on.
Okay.
I think as women we shouldn't be so naive,
Okay.
which can easily happen in this particular dilemma. The reason I say that is because I agree this does not happen in my household. It is not the case whatsoever. However, those thoughts might be coming from somewhere. Like
right.
she's not randomly woken up one morning and decided, no, you need to go. This is probably based on the sort of material she consumes, what she sees. This also the reason why I said the word naivety is because the woman herself and her partner, she knows her partner more than anybody, and we need to remember that. If that's the only person if she's the only person he's ever been with, and the other podcasters maybe don't know her boyfriend, obviously they wouldn't know her as much as she knows him, right? There might be certain things this is me hypothetically speaking. These are me I'm not devil's advocate. I'm just hypotheticals or seeing it from a different perspective or seeing why she would say these things. Yeah. She could see certain things in her man, which he's not probably doing, but he might have a wandering eye because he's never done that before. But even though he hasn't actually acted upon those things, there might be certain things she might have seen, maybe, that she just thinks, you know what, go explore. You kind of need it. Like, just do what you need to do, whatever. And also the man's response to her, him saying, you know, I don't want to do this. I only want you. Where that could be absolutely true, which I would like to believe is the case, that might also be false.
Right.
That could just be him saying that because it's
what she wants to hear.
Why would he say, yes, I'm gonna go explore, babe, I want to?
Of course.
No one's gonna say that. And like I said initially, I hope that is the case. That should be the case if you're with someone. But at the same time, when you're with someone, you're absolutely consumed by them. You don't want to see it, especially when you love them. You don't want to see anybody. The real test then comes when you are exposed to a certain environment and you still choose to be disciplined and say no.
Exactly.
You're right. It's a
catch-22.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if it's catch-22, but it's
multifaceted,
multifaceted, multi-layered.
Exactly. Because like you said, there could be that aspect where, you know, I'm sure a lot of women can probably relate where they see something in their man and they're like, maybe he does need to be single. Maybe he needs to explore in that aspect.
Actually, just quickly, and before I forget this, I think it's very, like I said before, it's very, very important to know what kind of man he is, because I can't say, this is not for every man. There are definitely men out there that exist that need to go through certain phases. Believe it or not, I genuinely believe that. So not all of them do. There are men that need to go through certain phases, or women, or just there are people out there that need to. Unfortunately, I don't think it's a good thing, but some people need to test things before they know what they want, and others just know straight away.
Can I speak on that one?
I genuinely believe that. He might just be one of those people that don't need to, so he is being genuine in saying, I don't need anybody, I just need you. Or he's just not put himself in an environment for him to realize that he might potentially be those other type of men that need to explore.
See, now that's where I just completely disagree. And the reason I disagree with that is because I don't believe that is something that anybody should have to do to know what that I don't believe you need to have multiple sexual partners for you to have explored that area in life and know what you want. I just don't believe in that. I don't co-sign it. It doesn't go along with my faith. Forget about my faith. It also just doesn't go along with my own belief system of the way people should operate. Because for me...
Sorry, quickly. I'm not saying I believe it. I'm saying
you can understand.
I'm saying that's the reality for some people. Of course it's the reality.
But what I'm saying is, in this scenario,
you're basically saying you don't believe you have to do that. But it's just, I think it's just, I don't believe it. You don't have to. You can know instantly that can be your thing. But some people genuinely believe that that's the case and they have to go through.
That's what I'm not saying. And my rebuttal, the opposite to what my belief system is not that the people that don't do that know instantly. It's just that instead of her saying he should go and sleep with someone else, I believe maybe you can just say maybe he needs to be single. Like, I don't think, like, people see sex as this thing that you need to try before you buy, try before you buy, keep trying, keep testing, keep seeing, keep exploring. And then once you've done that, then you'll be ready to now be, you know, committed to the one babe. But what they don't realize about sex, which this generation keeps trying to flaunt as though sex is a meaningless act, and it's purely just a physical thing that happens that one time and doesn't leave residue, in quotes. Yeah. The more sexual partners you have, the more doors you've opened in your mind, the more like things the way, especially if you've had sex in a context that isn't the way it was meant to be had, yeah, you've opened yourself up to a lot of different ways of viewing the world. And for some people, they'll see that as a positive thing. But I personally believe, say for instance, and you want to be realistic about this, you've opened yourself up to that many people in being sexually frivolous. Now, when you now want to be a monogamous committed man, how many people are you comparing that sexual act you're having now in this committed relationship to? Is that healthy? That's one of my first questions. Secondly, it's like, okay, now you've told your man to go and do something like that, yeah? What now do you want him to come back and bring to you as the feedback of himself as a man?
Right. What are you hoping
that's going to do in him?
Right.
Yeah.
Like once he's done it.
And I don't know about you, but as a woman, if you find a good man that you want to be with for the rest of your life, I'm sorry, you ain't letting him go.
How would I, in my right mind, be in love with a man and
I don't want to let you go. I don't want to be the reason why you leave.
Do you know what I mean? And there'll be a part of me that's encouraging you
like
to
the
do
other
that.
side of the coin, because yes, again, I do agree that for some people it can be that they see that in their men there's a certain something, but we can also be our own worst enemies,
right? Where
depending on what you're consuming, what you're seeing on social media,
right,
if you're constantly if the only opinions you're hearing and you're seeing is from Twitter, right, and people and you know, the black Twitter saying that they need this, they need that, oh, men can't do this, men can't do that, women this, women that, and you're constantly seeing scenarios where partners are cheating,
then your eyes will start to deceive you. You're gonna
environment,
yeah, absolutely.
That will influence your view, your worldview.
That will now, like you said, twist your view and your perspective, and you'll now carry that into your real life, into reality, and then you'll now see your partner in a light that they are not actually, that they're not portraying, they're not holding. Of course. So you're now believing, hold on, black Twitter or social media said that a man needs to be single until he's 32 and then you start to push that narrative. Then you're now thinking, oh, wait,
an innocent man,
because a man has no business to me at 25, or he must not know what he wants.
It's too early. That means that he's not actually serious, and blah blah blah. When a man has actually told you what it is, that he loves you, that he's committed to you, he's shown you all of these things, and that's why I said we can actually be our own.
A lot of people are the downfall of their happiness.
Of course, you self-sabotage. It happens all the time, and even you said everything beautifully, Ash.
Yeah.
My whole thing is self-sabotage. I've been there too. It's mad, but on that topic though, I always like to just deal with the facts that I've been given in it. Yeah. I like, obviously, this is a podcast, so we always do hypotheticals. We have to look. But in this specific dilemma, when I heard what her man had said to her, this is not after her telling him to go and do it, by the way, I don't think. I think this is just the conversations that they have around how much in love he is with her and how he's content with that relationship. I don't understand why you would want that. Like, if that is genuine, like for me, that's the facts we've been given, that's how he feels. And I'm going to take that as fact, innit? That's how he feels. I don't understand why that can't be true. And I also feel like that belief of men having to do that is not, I don't necessarily think it's a good thing that women believe that of men. I actually think that's quite a bad thing to believe of men, like personally. And I think as a man, if you believe that about yourself, that is also a bad thing to believe, that you need to do all of that. But that's my opinion, innit?
When you hear something good, it's almost like second nature that you have to doubt it. Yeah. Think, oh, he said that, but what does he actually mean? Like, oh, he said it this way.
Or he might think that's how he feels right now. In a few years.
Exactly.
And also, as well, I think a lot of these things come from maybe the sort of relationships that they've seen as well, like what you surround yourself, not just with social media, in real life.
Of course.
Let's be honest. Let's not now extend it to, you know, the uncles and aunties of our generations, but there have been marriages where maybe they've seen these things actually happen. We're not going to sit there and act like it doesn't happen.
Of course it happens.
We see it every day.
Exactly. So we're not going to then sit here and then act like these thoughts, like I said, have come out of nowhere. Social media is, of course, you know, a thing in itself. We've all established social media is not the real world. Right. This is the real world, and then it does happen here as well. So where do you know what I mean?
Like, where environment as well. What she's seeing,
and what have you experienced?
Absolutely.
But like,
absolutely,
even on that topic here, I just even think the dilemma is an example of how in our world today, good is being masqueraded as evil and evil is being masqueraded as bad. Because for her to, it's so difficult for her to believe that a man is truly committed to her. Like, and do you know how scary that is? And like, I feel like a lot of babes feel like that. A lot of babes feel like a man cannot treat, like, if he's truly like dedicated and committed to you, it's like, whoa. What's the catch? And then it's like, what is seen as the right way and the good way to be is that he should do all of those things because then he showed the real
he's gonna want to be with me. He's not gonna cheat. He's not gonna do all of these things.
But it's twisted. Do you get me? It's warped.
Guys, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. I have a friend that was in a similar situation where she felt like the guy that she was with wasn't 100% committed to her because he had a wandering eye, and maybe it was never a conversation that they had, but he had a wandering eye, whatever, and she might have, given that whole sort of similar to the babe saying, you might need to, hers wasn't, I don't think hers was as extreme in terms of go and have sex, but generally just be single,
right?
Like that, and that I think that's why I automatically thought about just being single rather than it being about sex.
Because exactly the difference is the sex thing.
Yeah, so
because being single, understandable.
Yeah, go and be single. Like, what's the saying? If you love something, let it go, and if it comes back to you, then it's yours. Do you know what I mean? So I think that was just the intention. So imagine that girl going into another relationship. Let's just say like it didn't work out, whatever, and she goes into another relationship, and I think that relationship ended up ending because it became so prevalent in the relationship that he did have a wandering eye, and she'd been the only person he was with. Right, so that's happened, and then he's gone. Everyone's gone their separate ways, and you hear about whatever's happening, and she's gone into another relationship, and then she's now that girl in this dilemma that's saying what she's saying because she's found another man who's 100% committed to her, but because of her past relationship and because she was right last time,
why wouldn't I be right again
this time? Exactly. Or not even why wouldn't I be right this time? There's a good potential that I could potentially be right this time
because life experience is real.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
It is real.
Like, I don't know if I explained it.
No, you explained it well, very well.
Because
life experience, of course, and I agree with you. Life experience is a real thing. If you have experienced something, unfortunately, it then goes forward to taint a lot of the relationships you then in the future have.
Right.
But then that's where we then have to do the work to, one, no longer entertain the same type of energy that we once entertained,
and work on eradicating those thoughts,
one, and then start entering new environments where you're being infused with edifying and positive and healthy ways of operating in a relationship. Because what is prevalent right now is a gender war between men and women. It's prevalent. Everywhere you turn is a gender war. So when you speak to women, they see men as their worst enemy. You speak to men, you think men are thinking that women, they don't want to be with them. Do you know what I mean? Everyone is fighting, but that's not healthy. No, men and women were not created to fight each other. They were meant to complement and really
work together. We're teammates.
But if you're not around that kind of content and all you're taking in is, if you're with your man, you should expect him to cheat. If your man has done this, it's not true.
Like, it's almost like when things are going too well, you have to find issues and you start to question. Yeah, too good to be true. Self-sabotaging. It's become so normal.
It's so normal.
It's such a
very
normal. Yeah, it's just a thing that everyone just goes through, and we just see it as just the regular. This is what happens on a daily basis, and then, it is what it is. Whether I stay in a relationship or not is another conversation, but this is just what life is at the moment. And it
goes
really
back
sad.
to what I said about in our generation now, how it's almost like, essentially my point is we also have to do the emotional work and have emotional intelligence to not put ourselves in situations that can actually leave us with more harm than good.
Right.
Whereas if you're constantly find yourself in relationship after relationship after relationship, and you haven't actually taken the time out, taken a step back to really take in, okay, what happened in this last relationship? Am I dealing with it? Am I, has it resonated? Have I actually dissected? Have I done the work to kind of shake this off so that I don't bring it into my new relationship? And of course, there's some things that you won't realize if you've done the work until you get into a new relationship. Yeah. And that's not to say that you have to be single to do that work, because I think you can meet someone and do the work together or whatever. Of course. But that's where the emotional intelligence comes into it, because I think, again, basically back to you guys' point is there's a lot of people finding themselves in situations that again are literally leaving them with more baggage.
100.
Like, and then you're confused when you get into a new relationship and you find someone that's treating you the way that you wished and hoped, and then you're doubting it because of your past experiences 100%. And because of the baggage that you're carrying.
Yes, because I want to completely validate everybody's experience. Like, we've all experienced horrible things in relationships, I'm sure. Do you know what I mean? No one is trying to discount that or say, oh, like kind of brush that to the side and act like that won't influence your future decisions. But there is an onus on a person, once you have been through something that was toxic and unhealthy, to want better and want more for yourself, and by doing that you have to reframe all the stuff around you. You can't just be like, okay, wanting that within yourself, but then you're still taking in certain content online that degrades women and degrades men and degrades relationships, degrades love. Right. Like, you have to do the complete work for you to see the real work.
A lot of people are trying to go through the shortcut. Exactly. A lot of people are just trying to cut ways and just get to the finish line, but unfortunately life doesn't work like that. You know, for you to live a good life, these you know, these people that have been in marriages for so long that you're trying to get advice of knowing how they live, they don't get there in one day. You know, they have to do the work.
They have to deal with the ugly conversations.
That's what life is all about. That obviously you can get the rare circumstances where someone's just lucky and it's just happened for them. They don't need to do a lot of work. Majority, and even in that, there's still work that needs to be done. When do you know what? Working in the profession that I work in, when you work with people, you realize like it just comes with work. Like, just dealing with another human being, full stop, whoever that human being, whether it be a child, whether it be a partner, whether it be a parent, a friend, or a partner, you have to work.
Yeah.
You just can't, do you know what I mean? Where it's just so complex in ourselves that you just can't, it can't be, you know, smooth sailing. So when you do get those moments where you catch yourself and you realize, you know, you've become so self-aware and you realize that, just don't get it twisted. It's not as if we're saying you have to be perfect, but
I think they're going to have those moments.
You know, and I think the reason I'm even, you know, saying this the way I am is because I've always spent time by myself, but like going into the new year, I've been alone a lot, and I've just been, you know, thrown aback with just thinking about some of my actions, my behaviors. And one thing with me is just wanting to always be a better person. Not necessarily for people around me, of course, but also for myself. I owe myself that.
Yes.
So just work on yourself. And obviously we're talking in the context of going into a relationship. Whilst you're single or whether you're with someone, just constantly look back and say, how could I have been better? What could I have done in that situation?
Not repeat it.
You know,
what wasn't healthy about that situation?
How could I have addressed that better? So, you know,
how can I, like, you know, advocate for myself better in my next relationship? Like,
I like that word.
Relationship is glitz and glams, and don't get it twisted. It's glitz and once all it's so, relationships is so beneficial. It's so rewarding.
Yes.
Like, it's such, love is so beautiful. Oh my days! Like, when you find someone you know, when if you're lucky enough to be one of those people that have found someone that you're in love with, it's such a beautiful thing. I'm sure, you know, a lot of people can advocate for that.
100%.
But beautiful things come with,
that's what I was going to say,
hard work.
For the things that you love in this life, you work so hard at them. If it's to get that family unit that you want to thrive, you're going to work hard at it. And
if it's to get that job that pays you're gonna crazy, you have hard to work.
But what a lot of people don't realize is, like, a true sign of you loving yourself is you working hard at bettering yourself. And people just don't. I feel like it's either that there's a lot of lack of self-love, or people don't realize it takes work to get past where you've been.
Or they see the work and they just don't want to put it in.
It is hard.
The key word is discipline.
It's hard. Discipline is hard. And it reveals a lot of the uglies. Like, you're going to be faced with truths about yourself. They're like,
oh my gosh. Oh my god.
You realise was there.
Oh my god.
But like that.
But it's all right.
It won't
don't
always
beat yourself
be
up for it. You just got to pick yourself up and
it's just part
keep
of it.
going. It's all part of life. You can't just stop before you get to the finish line.
No, not at all.
The race goes on.
The race does go on. So there was another dilemma. Yeah, we have to do it very quickly. It's not a dilemma. It was more a question. I was talking to someone.
It goes into it perfectly.
I was talking to someone.
I know this one actually. Oh yeah. Okay.
I was talking to someone at work, and I had never thought about this in this way ever before. But I was just explaining something to him, and then he was like to me, "Oh, basically, if your man is always telling you, look at all those guys that are interested in you. How many men are chatting you up right now? Like, this is your man, like your boyfriend, not just someone you're talking to, by the way." He's like, if a man is constantly telling you about all the other men that are interested in you, he's insecure. And I was like, oh. Because I'd never seen it like that ever. But what do you guys think about
It's
that?
rooted in insecurity.
I think there's a, and I wouldn't say he's an insecure person,
Right.
but there is elements of insecurity in that, because say if we're joking about it, like say if we're looking through like requests in DMs, like oh my days, like this guy is constantly like messaging you, not responding, like can you not get the hint, blah blah blah. But if say if you're out in the shop, oh look how many men are on you, do you see that guy look at you as you walk past? Different areas, like constantly.
I didn't think about it in that context.
And I'm talking about constantly saying it, bringing it up
Out of the blue,
nowhere. Like there's
reason.
no correlation. We're talking about one thing, you're bringing that up. I'm asking you what food you want to order. Oh, you know there's bare man that's on you.
Right.
Where's the correlation? I'm very confused.
That's actually kind of weird.
What else can it? I never thought about it like that, and I'm trying to think what else can it be. I don't know.
That's so interesting.
You tell. How did you see it?
Do you know how I saw it?
I can't wait to hear this.
Because I told the girls I'm going to tell them how I saw it on the pod. Yeah. Do you know how I?
How did you see? I want to know. I'm so intrigued.
Yeah. It's how to go when I'm explaining.
Because you know what I thought, and this is what I said to the guy at work. I was like, the way I saw it was like, if he's constantly saying it to you, it's like maybe he's just so like genuinely he thinks you're so beautiful, and he thinks
there are other ways of saying you're beautiful.
Of course, but like I genuinely thought it's he thinks you're so beautiful, he thinks you're so attractive that other men, they must just see it.
Why does the beauty have to come with other men?
Coming from,
constantly,
and that's what I'm talking about.
I never put the two.
No, but do you know what it is? I hear it, and I do see it as well. I see where you're coming from.
I see where she's coming from.
My mouth dropped.
But do you know what it is with me? Like, I think that's why we have to differentiate. If it's sometimes, whatever. Even sometimes, I'm like,
if you said it once or twice.
When I'm saying the context, I mean, is if it's a reoccurring comment.
That's constant. Then, darling, you're insecure.
But why? What is that? Why,
it's rooted in
how
insecurity.
Is it rooted? I want to understand what is the insecurity. What is it rooted in?
Because me and my friend had this conversation a while back. Then it becomes a thing where it becomes like a trophy wife situation. It becomes a thing where, and a lot of women, some women like it, some women don't, where, you know, when you hold someone to such a high hierarchy and you just not worship them, but you just see them as, because like I said, there are different ways of complimenting. Right. Babe, you look so beautiful today.
Tell me you find me beautiful.
That will make me smile more than you mentioning.
I hate when
men that are not thinking about you. You keep bringing them up.
It's the same way when some men will go, "Oh, you think you're so pretty, innit? You think you're all that. Do you think it's the same? You think you're nice looking." It's the same because you think I'm beautiful.
This is blowing my mind.
You think I'm beautiful, but you're not outright saying it.
Yeah, that's the why it's the same, because you're not
indirectly saying what you want to say.
You're indirectly saying something.
So is it a form of like backhanded compliment then?
In a way,
I think it's both. And the reason why I say it's rooted in insecurity is because when you're saying those comments. Like, what is it that you want me to do?
That's it. What do you want me to say?
Because you're now looking at the attention that other men are giving me,
and you're not liking it, obviously.
Especially if you know, let's use us for example. When we're in relationships, we're loyal girls. Where's to Georgia from Love Island? Loyal. I'm loyal,
babe.
We're loyal
to the core.
We're committed. So we're gonna make sure the person that we're with feels, one, safe, and two, they know, reassured. They know that. It's
me and you, baby.
It's only you.
Yeah.
So how is it you're now paying attention? I've made you. I'm doing what I need to do to constantly make you feel reassured, because it's an everyday thing. Everyone needs reassurance.
Yeah, it's normal.
Point blank period. Everyone needs reassurance. But you have now ignored that reassurance. You've gone from A to B. B is you're now paying attention to the compliments that men are giving me and their attention. You've now taken B to C, and you're not seeing that as, like these men are on her. Like, I need to like bring it to her attention because what do you want me to do?
When you bring it to my attention, what do I do?
What am I actually supposed to do?
Am I now supposed to go and speak to them?
Am I supposed to close my Instagram account?
Maybe you're supposed to go and speak to them.
But you wanted to be with a pretty babe, and you've had
that's
one.
what comes with it. I'm so sorry.
What do you want? Same way,
if you're with someone that's beautiful,
obviously
pretty,
we're using it in this context because the person that brought it to you, this was a real life example. Yeah. But the same goes to vice versa with men and with women saying to guys, "Oh, you get." Do you know what I mean? Same
one
thing.
hand,
It's the same with a handsome guy. I'm sorry, he's going to get attention.
Right.
That's just what comes with it.
So actually, sorry, a question came to my mind as we were discussing it.
What do you want me to do?
Are you guys
really.
the kind of babes
Just
that
not
say,
bring it
for
up.
instance, a guy moves to you, are you telling your man? Or if a man compliments you,
I'll be
are you
honest,
telling your man?
I'm not the type of person to outright tell you for no reason.
Okay.
Like, let's say we're having a conversation and it came up, I'll tell you the details. Like, let's say, I don't know, like, let's say it just came up, like, let's say, whatever, I'd definitely say it, like, there's nothing to hide, but I don't bring it up out of nowhere, because I've noticed that bringing it up can also seem away. Constantly bringing,
if you bring
it can
it up
always
out of
seem,
nowhere,
why are
you
you
can be like,
always
why
telling
are you
your
bringing that
partner?
up?
Because then that's
Yeah.
what goes to the extension of this conversation, where in the group chat we were talking about women that never fail to remind, or people that never fail to remind their partners that they got things lined up.
Yeah.
That's wild.
You got
behavior.
And that can actually
wild
plant
behavior.
a seed of doubt in your
course,
partner.
and insecurity.
And to answer your question, I don't tell him every single time.
Not every single
like,
time.
if it's mad, like, I'm like, oh my days,
Do you know
this
what
guy
just happened? Yeah,
right,
yeah,
guess
yeah.
what, like,
If
guess
it's
what
a
happened?
significant
but if it's just
situation,
I'm walking, someone's going, I'm calling my mom, or do you know someone?
every single thing, like, do
You know,
what I mean?
if it's like notable, like,
If it's
wow,
mad, like,
why
oh,
did
Like, a guy
we're
put
gonna
heart eyes on
laugh.
your picture.
We're gonna laugh.
Oh, babe, do you know, like, today some guy put heart eyes on my
that's
photo?
why? Yeah, that's weird.
You can't.
Do you know how
that
weird
is
it is?
You can't just
very
bring
weird.
it up.
Let's flip it now, because there's some girls that are watching this might think, oh, it's not that deep. Let's flip it. Say if your boyfriend has come out to you out of nowhere, oh, you know this girl said I'm peng. You know this girl said I'm handsome.
I hate that.
Guys, we're talking about
You know this girl was trying to.
repetitively,
Yeah,
not once,
not
not twice.
once.
Do you know why? Do you know what? Also, do you know what it would make me think?
Not once, not
That's why,
twice.
but 1,000. Do you know what's mad about if you constantly come to bring that kind of news to me? You're evidently enjoying that attention.
Yes,
And you
that's
love it.
my point.
You're loving it.
Or you're just new to this as well. I'd say
And-
calm down.
You're
And
new
that
to this. You
is
ain't
to
true
answer
to
your
this,
question,
baby.
Ayo, is the
You ain't true to this.
And that's the to answer your question, Ayo, that it's the opposite now. Like, they're almost fearful. Like, oh my days, like, she's getting this attention. Like, oh wow.
That's so true.
Like, a lot of women do that whole, a lot of I can only the reason why I say women is because I can only speak from obviously my gender. I don't know.
Yeah.
But let's
I'm
say
not a
people,
man, so-
a lot of people do this. The reason why I think a lot of people never fail to remind their partner that they get attention, even though it's not a good thing, please, like, calm down, is because I feel like like I said before, they want to keep their partners on their toes. They want their partner to
They're
realize,
playing
or maybe they're not getting the reassurance that they need
from their
so they feel like if they
man.
keep saying it, or they're not 100% comfortable in it, yeah, do you know what I mean? They're
And
trying
instead
to
of being
remind
emotionally
them,
intelligent enough to say, babe, I don't feel like you compliment
You
me, I don't
appreciate
feel like
me
you
enough.
appreciate me.
Right, come
Like,
with it
say it with
outright.
communication. You're telling me, oh, babe, do you know how many
Oh.
men told me my ass look fat today?
do you know
Instead
that
of-
guy
back to your
asked me for
original
my
point.
number, you know, babe.
Just
Flipping
come,
it.
just outright
Like-
say it.
No, because
Like, stop the games. It's the same way back to the original point. Instead of you to just outright be like, say it now, if that guy like is constantly saying, oh, you know, bare man on you, like, you got blah blah blah. Instead of you to actually just sit down with your partner and be like, I'm not gonna lie, if we're being all the way honest, like, I'm a little bit, and it's nothing for you to do, blah blah blah, but I'm a little bit uncomfortable when I see the way like some men approach you. Like, I know there's nothing you can do. You're a beautiful girl. Blah, blah.
That's a different approach.
That's a conversation
It's
for
a
you two
different
to have.
yeah.
Like, maybe
It's
to
a
see,
mature
Is there
conversation.
more?
Like-
Like, is there anything that I can do?
And it's-
Even though like it's beyond your control, but I don't think if you love someone, you'll have that conversation with them
100%.
to
And if it's
reassure
bothering
them,
them to that
and
extent.
if it's for them to bring it up,
Yeah.
especially for a man to bring something
Yeah.
of that nature up,
Yeah,
why would
yeah,
you not
yeah.
want to
You
try
can-
and come to
you
some
can
sort of
indulge
result?
in conversation. You can do what
Right.
you need to do in that instance.
But instead
because
of saying,
the
"Oh, you know, bare
approach.
man on you," there's nothing I can
You're
do. I'm so sorry.
Why are you
half-heartedly
angry?
bringing things up.
Why are you even angry?
It's like digging into different pies.
Because for me, it's like when you're saying that to me, okay, so
Just eat one
as
bite,
in-
so have the conversation.
As you're saying that to me, I'm like, okay, so then, okay, I
So
don't
what-
know.
what am I
What should I
supposed to
do?
do? What do
And
I do?
You know when you guys said the thing about how girls will be telling man that they've got bare options? I've never understood how you get to that point in conversation where you just say that.
Like, what was the conversation before? For it
Like,
to
how
get
did
to
you
that?
get there? How do you say, oh, babe, you know, there's bare man.
And that's, I think,
So you
it's
better
spiteful.
act
I'm not
up.
gonna lie. It's
You know what I'm trying to
spiteful.
I mean, you better act right.
It's always spiteful. I'm thinking of it in the argument sense. Say if they've had an argument, you know, you can get replaced. Don't ever get excited. You can lose your spot. There's niggas waiting.
That's where it comes. No, that's where it comes. That's when it comes.
That's the only scenario I can think.
Yeah. And honestly,
you must think I'm one of these other girls you've dealt with. You can get replaced.
and the origin of that comment makes sense because it's usually in the context of an argument.
Yes.
It's never like when things are good that you don't be. Imagine you're all cuddly with your babes and like, babes, you know, bear man, like, what, who, like, do you know what I mean? It's the context of arguments that will come up.
Or it's just things
aren't
like
great.
when something is either you're being a bit like sarcastic or you're being a bit like you're just not being sweet. You're not being loving in that moment when you say something like that.
Yeah. Can I be honest? That's very off-putting for me. I don't know if I could do that.
That's icky.
It's icky.
And I was even trying not to use that word, but literally, that's all it is. Like, it can put me off someone.
Yeah, that would give me the ick.
Because honestly, like, it's very uncomfortable to have to deal with that every day.
Time. And I'm like, do you know what always used to make me baffled if I heard that? Yeah, it's like, but there's nobody talking to me. So
no, but do you know what it? Oh, please.
And that's what I'm saying. If you're doing everything you
like, it's not at the volume that you think.
Her point is to say,
sorry guys,
that if you're doing everything you need to do in a relationship and the person still feels that way,
maybe we should be having other conversations.
There's other conversations for us to actually have. Because why are you not believing what I'm saying to you?
In our relationship.
Why don't you believe that I tell you that I love you and that you're the only person I want and I'm committed to you? But you're paying attention to the guy that just walked past us when we were in T4 buying bubble tea.
T4 sponsor.
You were very vivid.
No, but I'm
very direct.
No, but imagine, you're out with your man and then you think like, oh, he's looking at you, but he's looking at all the men that are looking at
Christ
you.
alone.
And then you come home, he's brought it home as well.
My first question is like, why are you looking at man so much?
Christ on the cross.
You know,
are you trying to tell me something else?
No, because why is your eyes focused on other men?
Right.
To that extent that you're noticing them looking at me.
That's where they say men love, like, that's why girls always say man love to impress man, or man are, like, their biggest competition is their fellow man.
Or some black women say that men are actually like not straight.
Let's not do that one because we don't need to talk about and question people's sexuality on this podcast.
No, it's not.
No,
but I know, but that is such a wild thing to say about somebody.
Because honestly, if I'm with a man like you're straight, you have to be straight, right? Yeah. So that's what.
Yeah, again, no. Of course,
we're not talking about anything else.
No.
So except if there is actually
but
something
just
you're
like,
not
why are men
me?
so like? Why it's like you shouldn't when you're in a relationship and you're grown. Impressing other people or like the opinions of other people, that especially
if it's through your partner,
it's air. Like, you know, other men,
disgusting.
for instance, if I'm in a relationship and other men compliment me, it doesn't do anything for me the way if my man compliments me. There's no comparison.
No way in
so what are we talking about here?
Nothing compares.
Let us know your thoughts down below.
Thank you for sitting down with us, as usual.
Thank you, Ayo, for sharing your thoughts and where you were coming from.
I was just, I was flabbergasted.
I think
it's cute and innocent.
Guys, I'll tell you why after the pod, but like, I said insecure.
Oh! Imagine your face like,
you know when you said it, I genuinely was like, sorry?
And even when you put it in the chat and me and Temi were like, yeah, that's insecurity.
Like, you agree? I said, Look, for real, like, maybe there's things I just don't know, innit? But like, obviously there is, guys.
Because there's
but
really
like,
some like scary stuff happening out there.
The streets are treacherous,
as
they say. But yeah, thanks, guys. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for watching, guys.
Thank you for listening.
Next episode will be 100. Stay tuned.
Flipping, we're on our way. Bye, guys.